I pulled away, the whole money aspect I pulled away, the gratitude thing I pulled away. But one thing that I have had on my mind for a while, and I probably have tried to bring up on this a couple times, is what I mentioned earlier, which is like the perceived conflict. I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but basically, a 5-year-old has problems and a 20-year-old millionaire has problems and an 80-year-old on a deathbed has problems. Everyone's got like problems in their mind, right? And they may not all relate to each other, right? To the 20-year-old millionaire, the 5-year-old's problems are useless, and to the 80-year-old guy that's on his deathbed, the 20-year-old's problems are useless, right? So there's levels to it, but I think the biggest thing I got out of it, and I try to think, because when we're talking about the money thing, it seems, even though you're saying all this, Haywood, even you, I'm sure, have a number in your head where you're like, well, if I had $20 billion, then I wouldn't really be too concerned about losing it. There's probably some number that everyone's got where it would mitigate your concern to manage or whatever, right? So I try to think of things that you can't really buy with money, right? Which is, the obvious, right? Family, health, time, all that kind of stuff. And I try to think of like relationships that I've had with friends, with family, with significant others, whatever, where when people talk about like the honeymoon phases, and that's almost with everything. But if you think about that with someone that you just hang out with every once in a while versus hanging out with all the time, eventually you notice more flaws, you notice more issues. And where does your attention go 9 times out of 10? It goes to the flaws or the issues. All the stuff that was great, that drew you to that person or that situation in the beginning, you get conditioned to it, it kind of goes away, right? There was no, in the beginning you're like, wow, this person's great, there are no issues or whatever, right? And then your mind fills that up with some sort of conflict, some sort of, downfall, something. And yeah, maybe you get to know someone better, or you get to know a situation better, or you get to know a job better or whatever, and you obviously see through the curtain a little bit more. But I think it's really important to recognize kind of just the biology behind your brain, which is it is looking for conflict to overcome. I think that's just how we've evolved. So when issues come up, not only should I think it's important to focus on being grateful so that you can really look at all the pros in a situation, but also to recognize that there's going to be more and more problems that you're going to see because that's what you look for. That's just how it is. It's really difficult to look at the good in every situation all the time. I don't think it's a very sustainable practice. It's almost like you welcome the fact that, hey, there's going to be conflict, but I gotta understand, hey, you know what? This may just be a little bit of brain chemistry. This may be a little bit of a trick that's getting played on me, and I gotta try to look at this from 10,000 feet up. Try to be grateful what you're saying, but at least recognize what really matters here. What really matters.